the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the Rockies' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Readout News live in Spokane at the Liberty or Death Conceal Carry Rally.
Colors time, march.
Awesome, awesome. And that is how you kick off an event.
Yes, Amy is here. They're getting ready to get started here. I did a
Hello, my fellow
video
Spokane
earlier.
Patriots. My name is Tad Howard, co-founder of Spokane Conceal Carry Group. I want to start off by thanking everyone who helped to organize this event. Chris Evola, the founder of Spokane Conceal Carry. John Val, CEO of AP3 Zone 8. Secondly, I want to thank our guest speakers for taking the time to be here with us today. Mike Fagan, Spokane City Councilman, District 1. Matt Shea, Washington State Representative, District 4. Robin Ball, owner of Sharpshooting Indoor Range. Bob McCaslin, Washington State Rep, District 4. Jenny Graham, Washington State Rep candidate, District 6. Matt Hawkins, U.S. Senate candidate. Larry Haskell. G.R. Mobley, author, radio show host. Jeff Stan, the founder of the Lightfoot Militia. And Randy Mace, the CEO of the 63rd Lightfoot. Thirdly, all those who donated items to today's raffle, Katie Brown and her team at Defensive Reality, Sharpshooting Indoor Range, all the others who wish to remain anonymous, we thank you. Thank you for supporting us, and all the proceeds of this raffle are going to go towards future events, every single dime. Lastly, I'd like to thank all of you who are in attendance today. For you are America's true patriots, and you are freedom's last line of defense. We've got such an awesome lineup of speakers here today, and I think I speak for us all when I say I'm excited to hear their thoughts and words of wisdom on today's topic, which is the Initiative 1639. But before we get started into going through our guest speaker list, I'd like everyone to consider going and getting some raffle tickets. We've got awesome range day items, we got some gear, we've got firearms training vouchers, and we're going to be giving all those away. We're going to do a raffle in between speakers, so the speaker intermissions will draw a name from the raffle and be giving away some great prizes here today. We also have a voter registration form. The first people who sign up to become a registered voter, if you're not yet already a registered voter, the first 4 people who sign up will get their name thrown into the raffle. And we've got some Spokane Conceal Carry membership cards. If you want to join the Spokane Conceal Carry group, that comes with great business discounts, local business discounts. We got some shirts and coffee, all sorts of good stuff over there, so make sure you go check that out. For those of you who chose to open carry today, I'd ask that you make sure your rifles are in ready condition too. Please be aware of the direction of your muzzles at all times. If anyone should need to use the restrooms, these restrooms here were supposed to be open today, but they're not.
They are.
So about halfway down the field, they are now open. Well, we're good to go then.
They shut off the lock.
They do what? Oh,
They shot off the locks. That's
somebody
fine.
brought the chop saw out, huh? So, with all that behind us now, let's jump right into why we're all here. Initiative 1639. It's been thrown out. As of yesterday in court, judge threw it out. At the forefront of that fight in our home state was the Second Amendment Foundation, Alan Gottlieb, Robin Ball, and the NRA. These people and foundations deserve a big thank you. As most of you are all aware at this point, the Initiative 1639 has been declared ineligible to be included on this November's ballot, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's unconstitutional.
This is a victory for freedom. We now have a chance to catch our breath a little bit. More importantly, we know what these people are after and how much they want to take. As a matter of fact, they wanted to change so much with this single initiative that they were forced to reduce the size of their font to a non-legible size in order to fit it on the back of the initiative. This was the legal ground on which 1639 was able to be defeated. But with the courts, what the courts were not able to review was the moral standards in which this petition had gathered its signatures. It was sponsored by a Seattle-based organization called Allegiance for Gun Responsibility. They spent more than $3 million on signature gathering for this initiative. This massive budget flew signature gatherers from other states and allowed its signature gatherers to lie and deceive the signers into thinking that they were signing $30 vehicle tabs or no grocery tax petitions. They went about it in a totally immoral and downright shameful way, doing whatever it took to gain as many signatures as possible with total disregard of the Washington state petition process and its laws. So in essence, they threw a handful of pickle slices at the wall and not a single one of them stuck. So as we celebrate today, let us also continue to educate others about this initiative, as well as prepare for the ruling to be appealed in court. We've won this battle, but the fight will be lifelong. Initiative 1639, it is titled Safe Schools, Safe Communities. But would passing this initiative really make our schools or our communities any safer? I think not. As we dive into this proposed change in legislation, we see its main intent is to restrict firearms sales and accessibility. It proposes enacting a safe storage law, requiring you to store your firearms how the state chooses, increasing the minimum age to buy a modern firearm from 18 to 21, creating an enhanced background check and registration system for all firearms, essentially, as well as imposing a state-mandated completion of firearms courses to be eligible to purchase firearms. So here we have a few major propositions that infringe on not only our Second Amendment, but one of those propositions infringes on both the Second and Fourth Amendments. This should be alarming to not only firearms owners, but all law-abiding citizens. We have given in to restriction after restriction and have yet to see the outstanding results they claim these restrictive laws bring. I say enough is enough. We need to stop proposing more restrictions on firearms, which is only seeking to solve the problem at face value, and start diving into the core of the problem. Initiative 1639 does not keep firearms out of the hands of criminals. It appears only to hinder those who abide by the law. So as per usual, it's nothing more than feel-good legislation. Make no mistake though, fellow Washingtonians, this is a direct attack on the only amendment that ensures our ability to preserve all other amendments. Do you support free speech? Do you support being against unreasonable searches and seizures? If you answered yes, then you better make sure that you are supporting your right to bear arms by voting no on Initiative 1639. That's all I've got for you here today. That was my thoughts. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to pull a ticket out of the raffle box. We're going to give the first prize package away. And we are going to pull a ticket basically in between each guest speaker. So I'll pull this ticket here. We'll get a lucky winner their wonderful prize. And we'll move on. Fred Lohr as our first winner here today. Where are you at, Fred? There he is. You want to head right on over to Ashley and that table there? They'll hook you up with your prize, sir. First up on our guest speaker list, we're going to have Mike Fagan. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thank you. And good afternoon, everybody. There are thousands of politicians, bureaucrats, lobbyists, and special interest groups working each and every day to raise your taxes. Shouldn't there be at least one person, one team, one organization that fights to lower your taxes? Well, there is. My name is Mike Fagan. I'm a co-founder and co-director with Jack Fagan, my father over there under the tree, and Tim Iman from Conceal. We are Voters Want More Choices. For the last 19 years, we've been battling state and some local governments advocating on behalf of the taxpayers. And folks, according to the state's Office of Financial Management, Voters Want More Choices has saved you and other taxpayers across Washington state over 19 years almost $41 billion. Now, yesterday was an exciting day for those of us in Washington that respect and appreciate the Second Amendment. After spending over $4.1 million on that campaign, the sponsors of I-1639 were handed a great big stinky turd by a West Side judge. It was obvious the petitions for the Anti-Gun Rights Initiative were really screwed up. And many didn't think that the court would do anything about it. Justifiably, we are all very skeptical about judges and the courts here in the state of Washington. So, Judge Dixon booted this liberal initiative off the ballot, and it surprised a lot of folks. But I'll tell you something, folks, we had faith that it would go our way. Why? It's because we knew a few things that other folks did not. We're proud to say that Voters Want More Choices helped connect superstar attorneys Joel Ard and David DeWolf with Alan Gottlieb's Second Amendment Foundation to handle this litigation. Ard and DeWolf are a dream team of constitutional legal talent. We are incredibly fortunate to have them on our side here, ladies and gentlemen. We read the legal briefs by everybody involved. Ard and DeWolf's arguments were brilliant, clear, and compelling. But even more impactful was the brief and the declarations by our Secretary of State, Kim Wyman. She made it abundantly clear to the court that she was extremely concerned about the dangerous precedent that this would have set to have a consequence-free lawless initiative process. The judge went out of his way to say, the court finds that the Secretary of State did exactly what she was required to do. Now, is I-1639 dead this year? We think so, because I'm telling you folks, it would take a miracle in order to get this before the state Supreme Court by the end of this month. Kind of akin to that last second Hail Mary pass in the end zone to win the Super Bowl. It ain't gonna happen. Now, for 19 years, our initiative efforts have consistently received the highest level of scrutiny by opponents, the media, by the courts, and by politicians. A microscope is put on absolutely everything that Voters Want More Choices does. Any undotted I or uncrossed T, and boy, I'll tell you, it is over with. But when it comes to bringing back our $30 car tax, our formula has been tried and true. Como News out of Seattle ran an informal polling, and 85% of the respondents want their $30 tax. In July, Tim Eyman and I went to Olympia, where we announced that we had over 202,000 signatures in hand, folks. We need more. We need your help. We've got a petition table set up over there underneath the tree. You can take petitions with you, get with your friends, family, co-workers, congregation members, etc. Love, cherish, and respect this initiative process that our state constitution has given to us. Now, voters have twice passed initiatives capping vehicle registration charges. Those charges, car tabs at $30 a year. And for about 15 years, we've succeeded at getting them lower. But recently, state and local governments have jacked them up again. Worst of all, and I'm referring to the Puget Sound's ST3 now, folks. Worst of all, they're dishonestly calculating the value of our vehicles to artificially inflate the taxes that we are forced to pay. Just like saying a $10,000 truck is worth $25,000, that's fraud, folks. But they're continuing to do it because nobody has given taxpayers a way to fight back. Well, like I said, folks, Voters Want More Choices is giving you a way to fight back right now, today, and all you got to do is help yourself. Taxpayers have been screaming at politicians for years about this injustice. And during the last two legislative sessions, all we have gotten are baby step bills and broken promises. They're just talking, they're not doing anything. So Initiative 976, the current $30 tab initiative, folks, fixes that. We get rid of the vehicle taxes and fees imposed since our earlier $30 tab initiative passed, and it explicitly repeals that dishonest vehicle valuation schedule. So it'll cost you and your friends and family just $30 a year to license your cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, motorcycles, and other vehicles. Can you say this with me, folks? $30 means $30. What do you say? $30 means $30. Thank you, and everybody enjoy your afternoon.
Okay, folks, I'm sorry I had to adjust that camera, but I ended up sitting
How
down
to use the
here
restroom,
and
sorry.
had to make it a little easier on myself.
Okay, Mike Fagan, thank you for coming out here and speaking. We appreciated your words and wisdom.
Mike
Let's
Fagan's
do another
pretty
raffle
awesome.
ticket.
Y'all ought to look into him.
Everybody's made their rounds to that raffle table, right? Lots of good stuff over there, folks. Run, 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 run. Do a little Vanna White action? Or Hannah White? What's her name?
Vanna.
Chris Wagner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Go ahead and meet either Brittany or Ashley over there at the table. They'll hook you up with your prize, brother. Going on down the speaker list, Matt Shea be speaking next. Thank you for coming out here today, Matt. We appreciate you.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to speak from the heart today, all right?
Yeah.
I love doing that. I was, well, first of all, let me start off by saying, and I start off every speech by saying this, that our hope is not in man, our hope is in Jesus Christ. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And that's where we get our rights from as well, our unalienable rights.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that the same debate the Founding Fathers were having on unalienable rights, we're having again today. And I realized a long time ago as a student of history that there is a common theme among Marxism and tyranny. And it is always to disarm the people. I want to talk real quick about the Irish penal laws in the late 1600s, for those that don't know history, where they said, the British, that the Irish couldn't have swords, the Irish had to not speak as loudly publicly. I mean, if there was Twitter back then, they would have banned them from Twitter. The Irish were not allowed to own a lot of property. In fact, my ancestors' property was seized. And then you go into the Native Americans. The same thing happened. You talk to the Ukrainians and the Slavic population here in Spokane, and the same thing happened. You talk to a lot of other people from around the world, and the common theme is they took our right to bear arms. And oh, by the way, at about the same time when people started to protest, they tried to take our free speech as well. And the great part about this rally is we stand for both. We stand for both. And I'll tell you right now that I believe the Constitution means what it says, that our right to bear arms shall not be infringed. In Article 1, Section 24 of the state constitution, our right to bear arms shall not be impaired, means exactly what it says.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's the great part about it. If we believe that everyone is created equal, doesn't matter your ethnicity, doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter who your parents are, and we believe that, then God-given unalienable rights of life, liberty, property, the ability to defend the same, can also never be taken away unless we allow them to be taken away. And the great also part about that is that it is the most inclusive thing to defend those rights, because those rights are what help protect people and make everyone equal and treated equally under the law.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, I'm going to get a little fiery. I'm tired of the media, and I'm tired of those on the left saying that God-given unalienable rights don't seem to matter. Let's hold them accountable. Let's call it out publicly. They're the ones that are defending tyranny. And by the way, Marxism has never ended in anything else. Let's be unashamed about that. I don't care if they ban us from Twitter. I don't care if they ban us from Facebook and Tumblr and YouTube and whatever else. As long as we have each other and as long as we have good patriot places on the internet to go, they will never silence us, will they? They will never silence us. I want to take a moment, too, to thank a few people. First of all, I want to thank our law enforcement. We support them wholeheartedly. Also, if you're a veteran, raise your hand. Let's give them a round of applause as well. I want to thank you especially for going overseas, for shedding the blood, the sweat, and the tears and then coming here today to continue to uphold your oath.
Amen. Yep.
I want to share a story with you. My wife came from Ukraine. Good friend of mine named Waleed, I helped come out of Iraq and then Syria with his family because he helped us on a base camp over there. And it was interesting when I talked to both of them, and I asked my wife, and I said, why did you come to America? What is the reason you came to America? And without hesitating, freedom. It is the only place in the world where you can talk about issues of the day and not worry about the police breaking down your door. It's the only place in the world where you have the right to bear arms no matter what, not conditionally. And it's interesting too that Waleed, he said the same thing, and they were from two completely different worlds. One was a Muslim world, one was a Christian world. But that common theme, that freedom, that common theme that we have the right to bear arms as the final check and balance against tyranny, it resonates throughout the world. It resonates in our heart because that idea was given to us by God. And that is what I take courage in.
Yeah.
Now, I want to end with this. A lot of people in the media, some people even here today, have come out publicly and tried to smear other people. Okay? Tried to tell in the media that certain individuals are not who they say they are. Try to smear them without any facts. Try to put innuendo and implication in their articles and in their editorials. And I want to tell you something about that. We can't become those dirty, godless, hateful people.
Yeah.
We have to uphold free speech no matter what. And by the way, the antidote to that slander and defamation is always truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
You with me on that? It's always truth. So today I want to leave you with this idea. That just like 1639 was thrown out because there was allegations of deception, putting the font so small, us older folks, and I guess I can say that because I wear glasses now, I couldn't read it. Thrown out because you didn't follow the proper protocols. That's going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to win because truth is on our side. And all we have to do is stand up for it, no matter who is slandering us, no matter who is threatening our job, no matter who is being violent in Portland, Oregon on the left, no matter who is doing that. We just need to stand without wavering on the truth.
Amen.
And not take one step backward. Are you with me? Not take one step backward. Are you with me? Not take one step backward. Are you with me? And that is what America is all about. And that is what we can teach our friends and neighbors. God bless you all and thank you for being here today.
All right, here we go. Another raffle ticket. Man, I'm
Matt
excited.
Jay's always a good speaker. Everybody needs to share that speech.
William Frazier, where you at? Go ahead and meet the gals over there at the table. They'll hook you up. Next up on our guest speaker list, we're going to have Robin Ball speak. She's speaking on behalf of Kathy McMorris Rogers here today and her campaign. So let's give Robin a big hand.
Everyone please share this video.
I like them. We just have decent round signs. I got a camera system in my house too.
All right, thank you for coming out here today, Robin.
It's a felony.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe you put me up after Matt Shea. I mean, seriously, I have to follow that up. Oh my goodness. I am here on behalf of Kathy McMorris Rogers' campaign. We are looking for lots of help, so I hope that we can get you as fired up as Matt got you fired up. I want to talk a little bit about what you don't hear about Kathy unless you're in contact with her. I've been in the firearms business now 23 years. Kathy has been one of my best friends in that industry. She has never taken a bad gun vote, whether she was at the State House or whether she's been in Congress. Never taken a bad vote on firearms. She has signed on to the Hearing Protection Act. She's supported the National Right to Carry Act. She cannot do it by herself. But we should be really excited about the fact that she's number 4 in leadership. That is good for the 5th Congressional District. And I hear comments made all the time about, well, I don't like the fact that she's standing with Paul Ryan. Are you kidding me, people? She's got a seat at the table. She's got that seat at the table for us. Then I hear complaints about, well, she's not supporting President Trump. She's supporting you. She represents you in the 5th Congressional District. And sometimes we disagree. She holds her own for us. She has done a fabulous job. I will tell you that school safety for all of Congress is top of the list of things to talk about. And the other side of the aisle wants to talk about taking your guns away. There is no other answer. They just want your guns. And they're going to pick at your rights at every level. And instead, Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers signed onto the school safety bill to get resources for schools to protect our kids, in my case, grandkids in school. It is so important that we return her to Congress. On 1639, we think that it's going to stay off the ballot. We don't definitively know that because the appeal was filed, but we think it will stay off the ballot. At the state level, you guys, I don't know if you're paying attention to primary results, but we need every one of you out there working and knocking on doors and calling your friends and making sure they vote. The November election always hits during hunting season. You guys going out in the field? Mail your damn ballot before you go. Do not forget to do that. You know, us taxpayers are all paying for that. There's no postage required. Do not wait to vote. Get your votes in early and make sure your friends going out in the field with you do the same thing. If you're watching, Mike Fagan, I don't know where you went, but you rock on city council, man. We have one really good voice in the city of Spokane, and you all are watching this slide into the sewer with the city of Spokane.
Lone Ranger.
It is, yes, the Lone Ranger, amen to that. It is critical that we work within the city of Spokane and the county of Spokane to re-elect Cathy McMorris Rodgers. We need some coattails for the state candidates that are on the ballot also. Matt Shea, I will tell you, I know I never have to call Matt and encourage him to vote the right way. That is a waste of his time. That is a waste of my time. He is always on the right side of the gun issue. So does everybody understand why it would be so awesome to be the majority, Republican majority in Olympia? Because the majority gets to pick the chairmanships. Now, I love having Matt on the House Judiciary Committee, but I would love it more if he was the chair of the House Judiciary Committee.
Yeah!
It is not always just about the individual. You may have disagreements. I didn't bring my husband today, but I can safely say we don't always agree on everything. We may have some disagreements. There's no question about that. But at the end of the day, the party platform fits my values more than the Democrat platform does. And I want the Republicans in control. So that that gives us a better voice, a much better voice in Olympia. We need them in control. So make sure you contact me. I'm really easy to find. I'm the owner at Sharpshooting. If you can't find me, you can leave me a message. I'll get back to you. I'm the 5th Congressional District volunteer, like all of you, volunteer election coordinator for the 5th Congressional District for all of our candidates. Like, not just for Kathy, it's for all of them. But I'm here to tell you, we cannot afford to lose Kathy. Because Kathy isn't the only challenge race in the country, you guys. We need to do our part for the nation and keep her in office. So find me. I'm going to hang out today for a while. I don't want to take any of these signs home with me. Please make sure you get them home. It's really interesting to wander around and look at campaign signs, isn't it? Where they are.
I know.
In people's yards speaks volumes compared to right away. It speaks volumes of how the candidate has touched the community. Kathy is in the community all the time. She wanted to be here with you today, was unable to be here because she is been a unity in the community. She is on her way to the Lentil Festival. For me as a Spokaneite, I don't even know what that means, but that's where she's headed. We need to make sure that we do our part. She is one person, and she can't do it by herself. But I will tell you, she is working hard with a 3,000, none of us have a 3,000-mile commute to work. But she is on the road, and she is knocking on doors in Spokane, and she is doing her part. Let's all rally to get her reelected to the House. We need to keep her in that position. Don't let this election pass you by where you have decided that it's more important when you get home from work to put your feet up and drink a beer and watch football on TV. I'm telling you, it's more important for you to be out knocking on doors with the campaign, making phone calls, get a group of your friends together and come to the campaign office, and we're gonna give you a script and we're gonna get you going. We need everybody's help. And I want to again thank all of you for being here today and supporting the Second Amendment. It is the amendment that supports all others. Thank you, everybody. If I run out of signs here today, we'll get more. I have more at sharpshooting, and if I run out of sharpshooting, I'm going to get them from the campaign. So don't be shy. I want them all gone.
Right on.
Thank you very much, Robin. We appreciate you. Thank you for the signs. Thank you what you do. What time is it?
Time for another ticket.
Yeah, it's raffle time. Time to pick another
Everyone,
lucky
please share
winner.
this video. This is really some good stuff at the Liberty or Death Spokane rally.
Terrell Dunlap. Where you at, brother? Right on. Let's see you actually get yourself your prize. Yeah, take them signs. One more sign up here. Nope, 2 more signs up here for anybody that wants a CMR sign. Hang that thing proudly or stick it proudly in your front yard.
I'm on a booby trap mine.
We'll see who's next year today.
I already know what's going to happen.
Jenny Graham. Let's have Jenny Graham speak. See if she can get us all fired up again. Thanks for being here today, Jenny. Appreciate you.
I got more signs in the car. Jenny Graham. I'll go get them.
Yeah, my front yard's going to
It's a
have all kinds
pleasure
of
to
signs
be
in
here
it now.
today and have the opportunity to get to talk to you guys. I had the opportunity earlier this morning to be at the Unity in the Community event. So I'm glad that I'm able to be here at both because I support both. One of the things that I want to make very clear is that I support our constitutional rights to enforce our God-given and nature's rights to protect our life, liberty, and our property. I've heard Robin talk about not worrying about Matt being on the wrong side of the gun vote. One of the things that I'm going to tell you is that as a legislator, You're not going to have to worry about me being on the wrong side of the gun vote either. And I'm going to share a personal story with you as to why that is and why that's so important. I live in the city of Spokane, not too very far away from here. And I've lived in the 6th District for over 20 years, where we've raised our children, and they've gone to District 81 public schools. So that's an issue that's very near and dear to my heart as well. And I will be working to protect our children and our community. The story that I'm going to talk to you about has to do with one night when I was laying there in bed, kind of half asleep, and I heard something that sounded like somebody on the roof of my house. So I was kind of nudging my husband, "Hey Curtis, somebody's on our roof." It's like, "You're crazy." I said, "No, I'm not crazy. I hear something." So I got up, just like any bad scary movie scene, to try and go find out where the sound was coming from. And I opened the door to our daughter's bedroom, and right outside her bedroom window there was a guy with, I don't know, it was a knife or a gun, I don't know which it was, but it scared me, right outside my daughter's window. So I went, I closed the door, called 911 to report the situation immediately, let them know there's somebody that has a knife or a gun outside our daughter's window. And then I waited, and I called, and I called, and I called. 2 hours later, 2 hours later, there were 2 police officers that showed up at our home. Unfortunately, by the time they'd gotten there, my husband and I were forced to deal with 3 gang members. That was very unsettling and frightening, and it's absolutely one of the reasons why I will never ever waver on my right to self-defense. I think about, thank you. I've grown up in my lifetime where I don't take my safety for granted, or the safety of my family. I have a family member that was murdered, and I also have several friends that were murdered. One was domestic violence. None of them were trained to be able to defend themselves or their families. So unfortunately, they found themselves in a situation where they couldn't defend themselves, and they died as a result. That is something that I cannot, you just cannot take that for granted. You can't. It is our personal responsibility to watch out for our safety and our lives. You can call 911 all day long, but they have to get there first. And they have to have a police officer to send to your place first. So those are some very important issues that we definitely need to address. And I want to take this opportunity to thank our police officers for everything they do. Thank you for keeping us safe. Thank you for putting your lives on the line to deal with those 3 gang members that I wish we would have not been put in the position to have to face. We have a choice. We either stand up for our rights, or we give them away, and you don't know what's going to happen. 2 hours is a long time to wait for somebody to come help you.
It's too long.
I'm running for the House of Representatives, 6th Legislative District, Seat 2 position. I'm running because I'm going to be the legislator that is also going to watch out for your hard-earned tax dollars. You do a much better job deciding where you're going to spend that money than our government does.
Yeah.
I will also be the candidate that watches out for your family's safety, our community safety, and I'll be working to protect your businesses and your jobs. I need your help. We need your help. As Robin said, please, please vote. It's so important. We cannot take this for granted. We're all in this together. It's going to take all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Jenny. It's that time again. Hey, every time I pick this box up, I just get excited. Yeah. All right, here we go. Next lucky winner is... Well, geez, if you can't write your dang name so it can be read, maybe you don't deserve to win. Eric Hill? Is that what it is? Eric Hill? We got an Eric Hill up in here? Where are you at? Is that him right there? Right on, Eric. Congratulations. Woo! What did he win? Lightfoot Militia jacket and some AP 3% brewed coffee. Good stuff.
See if I can get somebody to hold this.
G.R. Mobley is going to give us some words of wisdom here today. Let's give him a nice warm welcome. This man is a constitutionalist, an author, and radio show host. Thank you for being here today.
Truly a pleasure and honor. How many people have a constitution? If you don't have one, you should get one and keep it with you. So I operate on three premises. The first one is reasonable people, equally informed, seldom disagree.
That's just.
The problem is that middle part. And the reason why the framers were able to get along and agree so easily is because they all had the same information. A little closer? How about like that? Okay, so the reason the framers were able to coalesce and acquiesce and agree so easily is because they actually used the same information. They didn't have the internet, they didn't have a plethora of all this misinformation. Second premise I operate on, knowledge is power. So working on that middle part, equally informed, once we all start agreeing on stuff and we start understanding what the truth and the facts are, we become a little more powerful. The third premise is people are the fountain of political power. That was a standard fact. You'll read about it in Federalist Paper number 10, and it was common knowledge back then. And our problem is with our government, because we're not equally informed, then we send different messages and we're not succinct in fixing the problems. So if you understand the Constitution's a contract, right? Everybody got a phone?
Yep. I got one anyway.
So this is a Verizon phone. Have you ever heard of Verizon law? No. But there's a contract with Verizon. There's no law that's been got from a contract. I want to get it to you today and shift your paradigm that the Constitution doesn't beget law. Legislators create law, and those are the laws, but the Constitution's a contract, it's hard and fast, and the only way to change it is through the Article 5 process, period. A judge can't change it, Congress can't change it, and the President can't change it. The only people that can change it are the states. And Article 7 actually, what's the best word for it? It solidifies and galvanizes the concept of a contract because ratification, the term ratification is the formal acceptance of a contract. That's exactly what it means then, and that's what it means today. And it also identifies who the stakeholders of the contract are. We the people, as Madison said it on June 6th of 1788 during the ratification debates, it's not we the people, it's we the people of the 13 sovereign states. That's why it's the states that have the oversight over this contract. Inherent in contract law, this is very important. Inherent in contract law, the stakeholders have the ability to audit their contract when they feel it's being violated. So who does that mean? That means that our state legislators actually possess the authority over that Constitution whenever it's being violated. So I want to get this into your mind model at this point, because bottom line, if you understand the Bill of Rights, Has everybody read the preamble? A lot of people haven't, so that's what I brought here, and I don't want to get it wrong. The Bill of Rights preamble. The convention of a number of the states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers, that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. The Bill of Rights was a negative placed upon the federal government. It wasn't a negative placed upon the states. So what I'm saying is that the Second Amendment is actually a restriction on the federal government, not the states. So why is it that we are afraid of our states passing a law that's going to restrict our gun rights? Is there anything in the Constitution that keeps the states from being able to do that? Yes, yes, you're supposed to say yes. Yes, the 14th Amendment. If you read the 14th Amendment, Section 1, it says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. To be very clear, those privileges and immunities include the Bill of Rights. So getting back to this contract, another thing that's inherent in contract law is that if you and I, Tad and I, discuss a contract, and he's going to come and work for me, and he looks at this contract and says, I see you're supposed to wear head attire, and you talk about ball caps, but is it okay that as long as I wear a hat to work, I'm okay, right? I go, absolutely. I send it to him in an email. You can wear any hat you want. He shows up to work, and he's wearing a top hat, and my manager fires him and says, man, you got to wear a ball cap. Guess what? He now has grounds because we agreed on the redefining that contract. So the ratification debates during the constitutional ratifying, they actually defined the Constitution. They actually told people, actually the delegates were testified by the authors of the Constitution that this is what this line means. So that actually happened during the Bill of Rights as well. A guy by the name of John Bingham who wrote that passage, that clause, that no state shall pass any law that infringes on our privileges and immunities. This is what he said on the floor in the House. He said, Mr. Speaker, that the scope and meaning of the limitations imposed by the first section, 14th Amendment of the Constitution may be more fully understood. Permit me to say that the privileges and immunities of the citizens of the United States, as contradistinguished from the citizens of a state, the language of Article 4, are chiefly defined in the first 8 amendments of the Constitution. Therefore, those first 8 amendments are actually applied to the states. The states can't pass any laws that infringe upon our rights. Don't you wonder why we can speak and form and the states can't pass any laws on those? Because the secular progressives have clung on to those and applied those. We just need to wake up and realize, and actually Scalia in Heller v. D.C. actually tied this together. Those words I just read were actually briefed as a part of that briefing and that ruling. So bottom line, it's really important to understand your contract. And I bet everybody here understands the limitations of their contract with their employer. It's more important to understand the limitations of contract with our government. And so if you want to start understanding what kind of tyranny we're living under, I would recommend you read the ratification debates, because Madison clearly stated this, that the jurisdiction, let me be clear, the jurisdiction of the federal government is limited to the enumerated objects within the Constitution. Do you know anywhere that it's enumerated that the federal government has any say over health, over life, over marriage? They're overstepping their bounds. They've been doing it for a long time. I'd like to introduce you to a concept and principle. It's called auditing the contract. If you understand 1798 Kentucky and Virginia resolutions by James Madison and Thomas Jefferson in Kentucky, James Madison in Virginia, that's exactly what they did. Go read Jefferson's resolution out of Kentucky, and in Resolution 8, he's literally calling to set up committees of correspondence to actually work amongst the states in rebuking the federal government for violating their contract. It's time. It's time to call them out on the contract. And it's time to start educating people exactly what their limitations are and let the states do their job. I really appreciate everybody coming, and I hope that the progressives here may have gotten a paradigm shift, and I hope I broadened everybody else's paradigm. It's about time.
Thank you.
Right on, GR. Thanks for being out here today. What a great
So can I
bunch
show
of
the
information that was just thrown at us, huh?
Can I show
Thank
the
you.
crowd?
It's raffle time, yet again. Next winner, lucky Mr. Mark T. Where's Mark T at? Hey, there you go, man. Head on over to Ashley and she'll hook you up with your prize. Looks like you got the sharpshooting range, indoor range mug that they donated to us with a shirt.
Hey, everybody.
And I bet you open up that mug there and you're going to find yourself an awesome firearms training voucher for defensive reality.
Hold on, let me reset it back up. Had a little break, had to show everybody.
Next speaking
Miss
with us here
Brownie's
today is going to be Bob McCaslin. Give him a nice warm welcome.
There you go, ma'am.
Thanks for being here with us today, Bob.
Boy, it's wonderful to be here.
Guess I'm
Thank
going to
you.
learn how to do this
I
next.
meant to be here earlier. I got caught up at work, and so I apologize for being late. But it's great to see all of you here. And I just want to say it's been a pleasure getting to know Chris from Spokane Conceal Carry, and have gotten to meet more than a couple of times with him, and it's been a pleasure to be able to support all of what you guys are doing here. Is this better? Thank you. I'm used to talking to kindergartners and fellow state representatives, so it's is there no difference? I'm sorry. Yeah. And I see my seatmate Matt Shea back there. What a pleasure to see him here today too. So I just wanted to reiterate my support of the Second Amendment with absolutely no amendments to that amendment. Amen to that?
Amen.
Amen. And I have my concealed carry permit myself, and I continue to appreciate that privilege that we have. And it's not just a privilege, but it's a right. And we've got to continue to protect it, because there are those, I think, low information people that don't understand how important it is, because if we don't have it, then we have absolutely no rights at all, because the rest of our rights that are guaranteed in our Constitution will go away. And we've got to do everything we can to make sure that that doesn't happen. Amen?
Amen.
Okay, so I don't want to be long-winded. I just want to let you know how much I appreciate all those people who are carrying concealed today, because you have the right to do that, and you also have that privilege. And I have yet to meet somebody who didn't take that right and that privilege seriously. So it's my pleasure to be here today. Thank you that I can come up and exercise my First Amendment rights. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here today, Bob. Well, here we go.
Mix them up.
Put a big old smile on another person's face. 2 in a row? I don't know if we got that. Let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3 more speakers. How many packages we got left? 3 more packages. And we'll just stick with 1. Fred Long? Didn't we call that guy's name already? You won again? Fred Long? I don't know how to pronounce your name, Fred. Long. Lone. Holy crap. Congratulations, brother. You won yourself Pelican mug, courtesy of Sharpshooting Indoor Range, shirt, courtesy of Sharpshooting Indoor Range, and a firearms training voucher. Woo. Through Firearms Training Academy, Defensive Reality. Katie Brown out there in Silkcrest. Next up here today, speaking with us, we're going to have Larry Haskell. Larry Haskell. Where are you at, bud? There he comes. Hey, Larry, we appreciate you being here today.
Huh? It's the better question is to ask him, but it's the
As is usual, when you're down the list of speakers, a lot of what you had planned to say has been said, so I'll put an exclamation point on some of that. Can I hear it? Okay, I'll speak up. Want to know that I stand with you today as a private citizen and with anyone else that would join us in celebration of our constitutional rights. Rights that our founders believed were of divine origin, who were put to paper after much thought and debate by those ordinary men who were blessed with extraordinary courage, vision, and sense of timing. Men who pledged and risked their very lives to ensure that these rights would exist far beyond the lifetimes of the authors. Among them, the right to peaceably assemble here as we are today, the right to free speech without arrest that allows us to celebrate the accomplishments of our nation's founders, and yes, the right to bear arms. The Constitution of the United States declares for the whole world to know that the right of the people to keep and bear arms is not to be infringed. The Constitution of the State of Washington provides that the right of the individual citizen to bear arms in defense of himself shall not be impaired. Freedom, as is little else, however, isn't free. It is bought and paid for by past, present, and future generations who are willing to nurture and defend it. As Ronald Reagan once said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. John F. Kennedy, at his inaugural address on January 20th of 1961, said these words, "And yet the same revolutionary beliefs for which our forebears fought are still at issue around the globe and here at home. The belief that the rights of man came not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God." If we are, as President Kennedy said, willing to pay any price or bear any burden to assure the survival and success of liberty, that defense begins right here at home. Thank you very much for coming.
Okay, folks, just to give you a heads up, I am having some problems with my battery. I am hoping to get through the last two speakers, but no promises.
And with the end of that speech, we have our next raffle winner.
Did you get yourself a ticket, Sharon?
No.
Yeah.
Never did.
Chris Whitner. Winner Chicken Dinner. Next up on our guest speaker list, we're going to have Jeff Stan, founder of Lightfoot Militia, give us some of his thoughts. Thank you, Jeff.
Good afternoon. Good day. Beautiful out here. My name is not Jeff Stan. Sorry. A lot of you here know me on Facebook as Jeff Stan. That's my, I guess you could say, political profile. My name is Jeffrey Stankevich. You can understand why I shortened it. I'm the founder of the Lightfoot Militia. For those of you in the media, that's 2 words, please. Lightfoot. I started 10 years ago. I founded one unit. That's all I was planning on founding, actually, in North Idaho. And Boundary County 10 years ago, and today we have 70 units in over 20 states. We are a constitutional militia. We are non-political. Sorry, I meant to move that ahead of time. We have to be non-political. We represent everyone's rights. We protect everyone's rights. I saw a statistic, or a post, I don't know if I'm going to claim it's a statistic, on Facebook that talked about the largest official army on the planet was the Chinese army. They have 2.5 million men under arms. But the largest unofficial army was the American gun owners. 700 million gun owners. And that's what our founders wanted, right? That's why we have the Second Amendment, because gun ownership protects your liberty. Gun ownership protects the Constitution, the constitutional republic. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
It's totally wrong. Totally.
Okay, folks, I am sorry.
Our
I'm
founding fathers,
going to
yes,
have to go
wanted
charge
us to
my
have gun ownership. They
phone.
wanted to protect our rights
My
to keep
battery
our arms.
backup is almost
Everyone
dead. We
comments
will
on it
be
all the time.
back,
You hear the quote all the time.
hopefully very soon.
Right to the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A lot of times on t-shirts, bumper stickers, shall not be infringed. How many people quote the first part of the Second Amendment?